Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the deep dive. Go ahead, settle in, maybe grab that cup of coffee or tea, and just, feel like you're coming home. This is the space where we really try to get into the messy bits, right? The intersection of money, our minds, and how we navigate the markets. It's fantastic to have you with us again. Today, we're tackling something I think almost everyone listening has felt. It's that quiet, almost sneaky kind of regret. We're calling it phantom profits.
That's a great way to put it, phantom profits. Because we're not talking about the obvious stuff like, a bad setup or a technical mistake.
Right.
No, this is arguably much more frustrating. It's about the money you could have made, should have made, but didn't because you got scared.
Yeah.
Because you closed a perfectly good trade way too soon.
Yeah. And the core question, I think, for anyone serious about trading or even long-term investing really is this. What if the biggest thing holding you back isn't the market being unpredictable? What if it's actually inside your own head, your inability to just sit still and trust the plan you made?
Mm-hmm. Think about it. You've done the work, right? The analysis looks solid. Hours, maybe? You've defined your risk, your entry, your target. It looks good on paper, like a really nice risk-to-reward setup.
Yeah, you feel confident, you place the trade.
And it starts moving, you see green on the screen. Maybe you're up, 5%, 10% on the position. It feels good.
It feels really good.
Yeah.
But then something else kicks in. That internal clock starts ticking, like way faster than the market clock.
Exactly. That little bit of green, that flicker of profit, it triggers this almost overwhelming need for closure, for certainty. Your ancient brain, the limbic system, it doesn't care about your fancy 3-to-1 risk-reward calculation.
No, it's screaming survival.
It's screaming, take it, take the money now, lock it in before it disappears. Sees that unrealized gain as like a bird in the hand, a dangerous thing to let fly away.
And so you do it, you click close, you take the small win.
And then maybe an hour later, maybe the next day, you look back.
Yeah.
And the price, it's sitting right there at your original target.
Ugh, that feeling, it's just gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
You left, 80% of the potential profit on the table?
Yeah.
Because of that momentary urge.
That's the phantom profit. And that's what we're diving deep into today. Our mission here is to really pull back the curtain on this hidden mental battle. It's not about finding a better indicator. It's about understanding the clash between your fear and your discipline.
And, crucially, figuring out how to build the psychological armor you need. How to actually cultivate the patience and endurance to let those winning trades run their course. We're tackling the psychology of holding trades.
Okay, so let's just call it what it is. Closing a winner early. It feels like the safe, responsible thing to do in the moment. You took a profit, right? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, sounds logical. Secure the game.
But psychologically, it's often pure self-sabotage. It's probably the clearest signal you can get that there's a fundamental lack of trust going on.
But not lack of trust in the market, necessarily.
Not primarily, no. It's lack of trust in the system you designed. Lack of trust in your own analysis. And maybe, deepest of all, lack of trust in your own ability to just sit with uncertainty and execute the plan.
So it's less about maximizing profit and more about, minimizing discomfort.
Precisely. You're trading for emotional security. You're grabbing that immediate relief, that feeling of, phew, locked it in, instead of sticking to the plan that, over the long run, is designed to actually make you money through compounding bigger wins.
The market really does hold up a mirror, doesn't it? It exposes all those internal weaknesses.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't care how good your setup looked on the chart. It only rewards execution. And when you consistently close early, you're not responding to market signals anymore. You're reacting purely to internal noise.
What kind of noise? Like, what are the specific fears driving it?
Well, the big one is just fear of losing the profit you already see, that paper profit. It feels real even though it isn't booked yet.
Right, the fear of watching that nice green number shrink or worse, turn red.
Exactly. That potential loss from the peak feels incredibly painful. There's also fear of being wrong, fear that maybe your analysis wasn't as solid as you thought. Closing early lets you feel smart for getting out before a potential reversal.
It's understandable, but yeah, you can see how that kills long-term results. You often hear about this difference between amateurs and pros and how they handle this.
Yeah, it's a pretty stark contrast. The amateur trader is often chasing that immediate dopamine hit. They want quick wins, even tiny ones. They scratch out pennies because each small win feels like validation, like comfort.
They're trading to feel good now.
Right. Whereas the professional, they understand the math of the game. They know trading is about consistency over time, not instant gratification. Success isn't measured by how often you win, but by how much you win when you're right, compared to how much you lose when you're wrong.
The average win size versus the average loss size.
Exactly. And building that beautiful upward sloping equity curve, that only happens if you consistently let your winners run according to the plan, allowing your statistical edge, whatever it is, to actually play out fully.
Okay, let's talk about the math then, because this isn't just fuzzy psychology. This premature exiting actually destroys your numbers, right? Like the risk to reward ratio, the RR everyone talks about.
No, it absolutely demolishes it. It's like a silent account killer. People think their RR is set by their chart analysis. I'm risking 20 pips here to potentially make 70 pips. That looks great. Maybe a 1 to 3.5 risk reward. Fantastic on paper.
Sure. Looks like a winning strategy.
But what happens in reality? Because of that fear we talked about, they see it move up maybe 10 pips, 15 pips, and they grab it consistently.
So they risk 20.
They risk 20, but their actual average win is only, say, 10 pips. Their realized RR isn't 1 to 3.5 anymore. It's 1 to 0.5. They're now risking twice as much as they typically make on a winning trade.
Ouch. That completely flips the odds against you, even if your initial idea was good.
It guarantees failure over the long run. And this leads into the concept of expectancy, which is the real measure of whether your trading approach is viable. It's not just about RR or win rate alone.
Right. Expectancy combines both. It's like win rate X average win size minus loss rate X average loss size. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's use some simple numbers. Say you have a decent strategy, wins 50% of the time, and you risk $100 per trade. If you execute perfectly, sticking to your plan for a 1 to 3 RR, you make $300 on winners, lose $100 on losers.
Okay, so 50% win rate. Average trade is $0.5, $300.
Yeah.
$75, $500, $50. $50, $100 profit per trade on average. Looks great.
Highly positive expectancy. Now let's introduce the psychological failure. Same 50% win rate, still risking $100. But now, because you keep cutting winners short out of fear, your average win drops from $300 all the way down to, let's say, $80.
Okay, so now the math is $0.5, $80.
Right.
$4,500 equals minus $10 per trade.
You've just turned a winning system into a losing one, mathematically guaranteed to bleed your account dry over time. And notice, your analysis wasn't the problem. You were right 50% of the time.
Wow. The edge didn't fail? The trader failed to work the edge.
That's it. Perfectly put. Discipline in holding isn't optional. It's the only way you actually convert that theoretical edge on the chart into real money in your account.
And what's driving this destructive behavior? You mentioned dopamine. The dopamine rewiring trap. That sounds ominous.
It really is insidious because when you click close on that small winner, your brain gives you this wonderful reward. A hit of dopamine.
The relief chemical.
Exactly. Relief from anxiety, a feeling of safety, maybe even a little jolt of feeling smart, like I got out just in time, or I banked some profit.
So the brain loves that feeling.
The brain absolutely prioritizes avoiding pain and seeking pleasure or relief. By closing early, you successfully dodge the potential pain of watching that profit evaporate. That feeling of relief is powerful positive reinforcement.
So it trains you.
It trains your brain, conditions it, to prioritize that immediate emotional comfort over the long-term strategic goal. You start chasing the feeling of relief, not the actual profit potential defined by your plan.
You literally become addicted to the quick, small wins, even though they're collectively ruining your performance.
Precisely. The regret you feel later when the target gets hit without you, it fades. But that neurochemical reward you got from closing early, that shapes your behavior going forward. You end up trading not for maximum gain, but for minimum emotional discomfort in the moment.
And the market, being this cold, rational mechanism,
it just exploits that vulnerability ruthlessly every single time.
Okay, so we've established it's emotional, it's about fear, lack of trust, dopamine. But why? Why are these feelings so strong? It feels almost primal sometimes.
Well, that's because it largely is primal. We need to zoom out a bit and think about our basic biological wiring. We're essentially running, Stone Age software on modern hardware in this digital trading world.
Our brains haven't caught up with the environment.
Not even close. The core challenge of trading, fundamentally, is wrestling with millions of years of evolutionary programming that was designed for immediate survival in a very different world.
That makes sense. This clash between our, caveman instincts and the logic the market requires.
It's huge. Think about the classic bird-in-the-hand instinct. For our ancestors roaming the savannah, resources were scarce, life was uncertain.
Definitely no guaranteed next meal.
Right. So if they stumbled upon a bush full of edible berries, a small, certain gain evolution strongly favored the individuals who grabbed those berries immediately. That was guaranteed energy for today.
Okay. Secure the immediate win.
Holding out for something better but uncertain, like tracking a deer, a larger, more nutritious but uncertain potential gain, was often just too risky. What if the deer got away? You could starve.
So relate that to trading. That 5% profit flashing on the screen.
That's the berries. Your ancient, survival-focused brain is screaming, grab it, secure it now before some predator of the market snatches it away.
And the bigger profit target? The 3-to-1 winner.
That's the uncertain deer. It might get away. Historically, evolution taught us that taking the small, certain gain was often the better survival strategy, even if it wasn't the maximization strategy. We are basically hardwired to prefer certainty.
Wow, okay. That puts it in perspective. And this gets tangled up with loss aversion too, right?
Yeah.
That whole idea that losses hurt more than gains feel good.
Oh, massively. Loss aversion compounds this whole problem and explains that really weird, paradoxical behavior you see in traders all the time.
Which is?
They cut their winners short, they're super risk-averse when they have a gain they might lose, but at the same time, they cling on to their losing trades way too long. They suddenly become risk-seeking when facing a loss.
Right. You see it all the time. Someone's up 5%, they get incredibly nervous, ready to bolt at the slightest pullback. They're terrified of giving back any of that paper profit.
Total risk aversion.
But if they're down 5%, suddenly they're gamblers. They're like, oh, I'll just wait for it to come back to break even. They'll let it go down 10%, 20%, taking on way more risk just to avoid the emotional pain of actually booking the loss.
Pure risk-seeking behavior. Trying to avoid the certainty of pain. It's why small losses turn into account-destroying disasters for so many people. Cut winners, let losers run. It's the exact opposite of what you need to do.
And there's actual science behind this, isn't there? Kahneman and Tversky.
Absolutely. Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky did the groundbreaking work on prospect theory. They basically showed through rigorous experiments that the psychological pain of a loss feels roughly twice as intense as the psychological pleasure of an equivalent gain.
Twice as powerful. That's huge.
It is. This asymmetry is like the engine driving so much irrational financial behavior.
Can we visualize that? They talk about an asymmetrical value curve, right?
Yeah, imagine a graph. The center point is your entry price, your break-even. Now, as the trade moves into profit, let's say to the right on the graph, the curve representing your emotional value, your happiness, it flattens out pretty quickly. Meaning the difference in how good you feel between being up 5% and being up 6% is actually quite small. It's diminishing returns on happiness. Your brain starts thinking, is it really worth holding on to this risk for just a tiny bit more good feeling?
Okay, the upside feels less compelling as it grows. But what about the other side, the loss side?
Now look to the left of the center point, the loss zone. That curve is steep, super steep. And here's the crucial part. When you're already up 5%, that 5% becomes your new mental reference point.
Your new baseline.
Exactly. So if the price then pulls back from plus 5% to plus 4%, your brain doesn't register that as, oh, I'm still up 4%, that's good. No, it registers it as a loss of 1% from your current reference point, that peak profit you just saw.
And because the loss curve is so steep,
the potential pain of losing that 1% of accrued unrealized profit feels disproportionately huge compared to the potential pleasure of maybe gaining another 1% to get to plus 6%.
Wow. So even if you're still profitable overall, any pullback feels like a loss from the highest point you saw.
That's the psychological trap in a nutshell. Once you see green, that green number becomes your emotional anchor. Any move back towards your entry price feels intensely painful, like you're actively losing something valuable.
And that's what drives the urge to hit close, to just stop the potential pain of that pullback, even if the overall trade structure is still perfectly fine. You want off the emotional ride before the next dip.
You got it. You're managing the feeling, not the trade, according to the plan.
Okay, but if this is also deeply wired, based on evolution and proven psychological principles, are we just doomed? How can anyone possibly overcome this stuff?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it brings us to the core point. It's not really about trying to eliminate these feelings. You probably can't. Fear, the desire for certainty, they'll likely always be there.
So what's the angle then?
The angle is realizing that the real root cause of not being able to hold trades isn't the feeling itself, but a fundamental lack of self-trust.
Lack of self-trust. How so?
It's a lack of trust in your analysis, yes, But more deeply, it's a lack of trust in your own ability to simply sit with discomfort, to tolerate the uncertainty and the emotional swings that are just part of trading.
Because holding a trade isn't passive, is it? It requires enduring stuff.
Exactly. It requires enduring the normal ebbs and flows. The pullbacks that test your conviction, the periods where price just chops sideways and does nothing, testing your patience, the delays before your target gets hit. If you haven't built the internal fortitude, the self-trust to handle that psychological pressure without cracking,
You'll always cave early. You'll always seek that immediate relief.
and you'll perpetually underperform your own system's potential. You have to be willing and able to endure the process of the trade unfolding, not just jump straight to wanting the outcome.
Okay, let's talk about impatience specifically then, because it feels related to fear, but maybe slightly different. It seems like such a silent killer in trading.
It really is, and it's deceptive because it often doesn't show up roaring like obvious fear or greed. Impatience is sneaky. It whispers in your ear, disguised as perfectly reasonable logic.
Like what does impatience sound like?
It sounds like, the volume seems to be drying up here, or, this consolidation is taking way too long, maybe the move failed, or my capital is just sitting here dead, I should find something else.
Yeah, justifications, rationalizations for wanting out.
Exactly. And you can often feel it physically too, can't you? I hear traders talk about it all the time. Shoulders getting tense, maybe holding your breath slightly.
Or that classic one, the hand just hovering over the mouse over the close button.
That physical tension is a huge red flag. It means you've stopped observing the market objectively based on your plan, and you've started reacting entirely to your own internal state of discomfort. You're managing your feelings, not the trade.
And the trigger is often just time.
Time is the ruthless pressure cooker here. The market simply does not operate on your personal schedule or mine. Your analysis might be spot on, predicting a move to X. But that move might take 3 minutes, 3 hours, or 3 days.
And when it doesn't happen instantly.
When it doesn't happen at the speed your impatient mind demands, that's when things start to unravel internally. The real challenge often isn't getting the analysis right. It's whether you can mentally outlast the noise, the anxiety, the boredom in your own head while the price takes its sweet time getting to where your plan said it would go.
Maybe an example would help, like comparing two traders with the same setup.
Okay, perfect. Let's imagine trader A and trader B. Both identify the exact same valid setup. They both enter aiming for, say, a 100-point profit target with a defined stop loss.
Okay, same trade, same plan initially.
Right. Now the trade starts moving. Within the first hour, it's up 20 points. Good start. But then it just stalls. It goes sideways, chops around in a range for the next 90 minutes.
The dreaded consolidation.
Exactly. Trader A starts getting antsy. He's watching every tick. He starts thinking about opportunity cost. My money's tied up here doing nothing. I could be finding a quicker scalp somewhere else.
There's inventing reasons to get out.
He does. This consolidation looks a bit weak, or maybe that news event later will reverse it. He finds a reason, any reason, clicks close, and banks his 20 points. He feels relief from the waiting, relief from the uncertainty.
Okay, so trader A is out with a small gain, feeling relieved. What about trader B?
Trader B entered the same trade. She set her stop-loss order and her profit target order in the system. And then maybe she sets an alert near the target, but she steps away, minimizes the chart window, goes for a walk, works on something else.
She trusts the plan she made beforehand.
She checks back later, sees the consolidation, feels that same little itch of impatience, maybe some anxiety, but she reminds herself, my job right now is to not interfere unless my stop is hit, my target is hit, or the fundamental reason for the trade dramatically changes. None of those have happened.
So she holds.
She holds. Maybe a couple of hours later, the market finally breaks out of that consolidation and rallies straight to the 100-point target. Trader B gets the full planned profit.
Well, trader A, who got out early.
Trader A banked his 20 points, felt good for 5 minutes, then probably spent the rest of the afternoon maybe forcing 3 other trades, chasing smaller moves, and ended up giving back 15 points in commissions and slippage, plus endured a lot more stress.
So the difference wasn't the setup or the analysis.
It was purely endurance, psychological endurance. Trader A prioritized immediate emotional relief. Trader B prioritized sticking to the long-term strategic plan. That difference, compounded over time, is massive.
It really reframes patience, doesn't it? It's not passive waiting around.
Not at all. That's the irony. Patience feels passive, like you're just sitting on your hands being bored. But in trading, it's one of the most active forms of discipline there is. Every single second you hold that valid trade, resisting the urge to meddle, resisting the whispers of fear and impatience, that's an active fight against self-sabotage.
If your system truly has a positive edge,
Then your highest value activity, once the trade is on, is often literally doing nothing, just letting the probabilities play out without your emotional interference messing up the math.
the market almost seems designed to test this, doesn't it? With the fake outs and the whipsaws.
Oh, it feels like it sometimes. It will shake the tree, absolutely. Sharp pullbacks that stop just shy of your stop loss. Long, boring, sideways periods that seem designed to break your will through sheer monotony. It's deliberately trying to dislodge the weak hands.
Enduring those tests.
That's the psychological price you pay for capturing the bigger moves. That's the toll for admission to potentially significant profits.
Now, we need to be careful here, right? There's a difference between this kind of disciplined patience on a winning or valid trade and just hoping on a loser.
Oh, absolutely. Critical distinction. Impatience makes you cut winners short. But its ugly cousin, what you might call reckless hope, is what makes people hold on to losing trades way too long.
Explain that difference more clearly.
Okay. Reckless hope is when your trade has already clearly invalidated your plan. It's broken key support. It's hit your predefined stop-loss level. The reason you entered is just gone. But you stay in anyway, hoping against all evidence that it will magically reverse and save you from taking the loss.
That's trading based on fantasy, not fact.
Exactly. It destroys accounts faster than almost anything. Patience, on the other hand, is holding a trade that is still structurally valid according to your plan. The stop hasn't been hit. The target is still viable. The underlying trend or reason for the trade is still intact. It just hasn't reached the target yet.
One is disciplined waiting based on evidence. The other is undisciplined wishing based on fear of loss.
Perfectly summarized. And here's the kicker. If you can't master the first kind of patience, the patience to let your valid winners run, you'll likely never build up enough capital buffer or psychological resilience to properly handle the inevitable losses that come with trading, let alone survive the catastrophic damage caused by reckless hope on the losing side. You need the big wins to pay for the small losses.
All right, this all makes sense psychologically, but knowing isn't the same as doing, right? Just telling yourself, be patient, trust yourself, probably isn't enough when that fear hits.
Exactly. Trying to rely purely on willpower or just grit to fight millions of years of evolutionary hardwiring and intense emotional pressure, that's like trying to hold back a tidal wave with a bucket. Your willpower will crack under pressure eventually.
So the solution needs to be more systematic.
It has to be structural. You need to design discipline directly into your trading process itself. You need systems and routines that act as guardrails, overriding your emotional impulses when they flare up. We need to build, as you called it earlier, psychological armor.
Okay, let's get practical then. What are some specific, actionable things people can do, like real antidotes?
All right, let's break down 5 key ones. And remember, the goal isn't to stop feeling the fear or impatience. It's to have structures in place so that those feelings don't dictate your actions.
Got it. Antidote number 1.
Number 1, the non-negotiable trading plan and the power of pre-commitment. This is absolutely foundational. Your trading plan defining entry, stop loss, and specific profit targets or exit conditions must be created when you are calm, rational, and objective.
Before the market opens, before the trade is even on.
Yes. Crucially, before the emotional heat is turned up. This plan needs to be ruthlessly specific about how and when you will exit, whether it's scaling out at certain levels, a full target hit, or a trailing stop condition being met.
And the pre-commitment part.
That means once the trade is live, your job fundamentally changes. You are no longer the analyst or the strategist. Your only job is to be the disciplined executioner of the plan you already made.
So when the anxiety hits mid-trade,
you don't stare at the fluctuating P&L number. You look at your written plan and ask simple binary questions. Has my stop-loss level been hit? Yes or no? Has my predefined profit target been reached? Yes or no? Has the core structural reason for this trade been invalidated according to my plan? Yes or no?
if the answer to all those is no,
Then the plan says, Hail D. Period. No negotiation. You pre-committed to this course of action when you were thinking clearly. This removes the emotional, in-the-moment human decision-maker from the loop during the battle. It's incredibly powerful.
okay, that makes sense. Structure over impulse. What's antidote number 2?
Number 2, master the set and walk away, or at least look away, strategy. This directly combats the fear fueled by constant screen watching.
Ah, the chart hypnotist.
Right.
Yeah.
Every little tick up or down, every minor pullback gets magnified and misinterpreted by your anxious brain as a sign of impending doom or a reason to grab profits now. This constant monitoring fuels that fear of missing out, or FOMO, which weirdly often leads to missing out on the bigger move because you exit too soon.
So what's the practical application? Literally walk away.
Ideally, yes, if your plan allows for it. Once your orders, your stop loss, and your profit target are placed in the system with your broker, physically distance yourself, set boundaries. I'll only check this position once per hour, or I won't look at the P&L until the end of the day.
Close the chart window. Minimize the trading platform.
Absolutely. Go do something else entirely unrelated to the market. Use price alerts on your phone or platform to notify you if the price gets close to your stop or target. The key is to let your predefined, rational plan work without your fearful, emotional self constantly hovering over it, interfering.
Less time watching the money fluctuate means less emotional attachment to those unrealized gains too, I guess.
Exactly. You break the cycle of micromanaging based on fear.
Okay. Antidote number 3.
Number 3, implement the mechanical trailing stop loss. Now, this is a tool, and like any tool, it needs to be used correctly. But it can be an elegant structural solution.
How does it help with holding winners specifically?
A trailing stop allows your trade to keep capturing profit as long as the move continues in your favor, while automatically locking in a portion of those gains as it moves. For example, you might set a stop that trails the price by, say, 2%. As the price moves up, your stop moves up with it, always 2% below the peak.
So it lets the winner breathe, but protects downside.
Right. And crucially, it takes the emotional decision of, okay, when do I take profit out of your hands? The market decides for you. When the trend finally reverses enough to hit that trailing stop, the position is closed automatically.
Now, I know some people listening might be thinking, but trailing stops always seem to get me clipped out too early on normal volatility. You hear that a lot.
That is a very valid concern, and it highlights a crucial point. The discipline isn't just in using the trailing stop, but in setting it appropriately.
So not setting it too tight based on fear.
Exactly. If you set your trailing stop too close to the current price because you're anxious, yes, you'll likely get whipsawed out by normal market noise. The effectiveness hinges on understanding the typical volatility of the asset you're trading and setting the trail distance wide enough to allow for those normal fluctuations, but tight enough to protect meaningful profit when the trend actually bends or breaks.
So calculating it based on market structure, like average, true range, or key levels, rather than just an arbitrary number based on how nervous you feel.
Precisely. When used thoughtfully, it becomes a non-emotional mechanism that replaces your fearful finger hovering over the close button. It lets the market tell you when the party's likely over, maximizing the ride while managing risk systematically.
Okay, makes sense. Number 4.
Number 4, the emotional journal, your psychological x-ray. This is huge and often overlooked. You absolutely must go beyond just tracking your P&L, your entries, and exits. The real gold is in tracking your internal state.
So journaling feelings.
Yes, specifically in relation to your trading decisions. Before you enter a trade, note your mindset. During the trade, especially when you feel urged to close early, urged to move, jot down what you're feeling physically and emotionally. Felt intense anxiety when price pulled back 50% towards entry. Shoulders tensed up, wanted to just lock in the small gain.
And if the trade.
Absolutely. Closed early at plus 10 points, target was plus 50. Felt relief initially, now feel frustrated I didn't trust the plan. Crucially, you also need to write down the justifications your mind offered you in the moment. I told myself the volume looked weak, but honestly, the main feeling was just panic.
Why is writing down the justifications so important?
Because that's how you uncover the patterns. You start to see the specific mental tricks your brain uses to get you to break your rules. This journaling process turns your trading into a behavioral lab. You build self-awareness. You can't fix a compulsive habit like closing early if you don't consciously recognize the emotional trigger, the physical sensations, and the rationalizations that lead up to it.
It's like developing an X-ray vision into your own psychological weak spots.
Exactly. Over time, you see your patterns clearly and you can start to intercept them before you click the button.
Okay, powerful stuff. What's the final antidote, number 5?
Number 5, the power of reframing and humility. This one is more mindset-oriented, but critical for detaching your ego from the trade outcome.
Reframing how?
First, reframe the money itself. When you have an open trade with an unrealized profit, mentally label that profit as the market's money that you are temporarily managing. It is not your money yet. Not until the trade is closed according to plan and the profit is booked.
How does that help?
It reduces your sense of ownership and emotional attachment to that fluctuating green number. If the market pulls back and takes some of that unrealized gain away, it doesn't feel like you are losing your money. It feels more like the market is just reclaiming some of its own capital that it temporarily lent you. It lessens the perceived pain of the pullback.
Detachment. Okay.
Ah.
And the humility part.
This is about fundamentally accepting that you are not smarter than the market. You cannot predict its every move, and you certainly cannot control it. Your job isn't to be right on every trade. Your job is to execute your tested plan with discipline over the long haul.
Shifting focus from the outcome of this one trade
To the quality of your process across all trades. Did I follow my rules? Did I manage my risk? Did I execute the plan I made when I was rational? When you prioritize process over outcome, the ego-driven need to be right or lock in a win now starts to fade. That urge to close early is often an attempt to control the outcome, which you can't do anyway. Humility means focusing only on what you can control, your own actions according to your plan.
I like that question you can ask yourself. Am I trying to be right or am I trying to make money?
Yeah.
Closing early often feels like being right in the short term, grabbing something, but it prevents you from making real money over time by capturing the full edge.
Precisely. Embrace the process, embrace the probabilities, and let go of trying to force or control the outcome of any single event.
All right. Let's try and wrap this all together. If we zoom out, what's the big picture prospective traders need to adopt to overcome this?
It really comes down to adopting the mindset of an institution, like a casino, rather than thinking like an individual gambler playing a single hand. Meaning, no single trade outcome matters. Not the winner you just had, not the loser you took yesterday, not the one you're agonizing over right now, and certainly not the one you cut short last week. None of them matter in isolation.
It's the aggregate result that counts.
Exactly. You have to become the house. The casino knows it has a small statistical edge on games like roulette or blackjack. They don't panic if one player hits a lucky streak. They don't get euphoric over one big win at a table.
They just keep the games running.
They just keep the wheels spinning, the cards dealing, because they have absolute faith in the law of large numbers. They know that over thousands and thousands of bets, their small edge will inevitably result in profit. Your job as a trader is to build a system with a positive expectancy your edge, and then become that unwavering institution that just executes the plan over and over and over, letting the probabilities work in your favor without emotional interference.
So weathering the storms, the losing streaks, the frustrating periods, it's just part of the operating cost.
It's absolutely part of the game. The market is, in many ways, a test of character more than anything else. Those whipsaws that try to shake you out, those long, boring consolidations that test your patience, those sharp pullbacks that trigger your fear, they feel almost designed to challenge your psychological resilience.
And enduring those moments is the price of admission.
It's the toll you pay for the potential rewards of successful trading. You have to be able to sit through that discomfort.
And that endurance, it can't just be blind hope, right? It has to be built on something solid.
Absolutely. It has to be built on belief, but not wishful thinking. It needs to be belief grounded in evidence. Evidence from your backtesting that shows your system has an edge. Evidence from your journal that shows you can follow your plan even when it's hard. Evidence from past successes where holding patiently paid off. That's what builds real, robust confidence to withstand the inevitable market noise.
Which brings us to maybe the biggest takeaway. The transformation isn't just in the account balance.
Oh, far from it. That's perhaps the greatest irony, or maybe the greatest gift of this whole endeavor. The real profit, the most valuable gain you get from learning to trade well, especially learning to hold trades with discipline, isn't just the money. Money comes and goes. Accounts can be blown up and rebuilt.
But the internal changes stick.
Exactly. The discipline you forge in the fire of the market, the emotional resilience you build by facing fear and uncertainty day after day and acting rationally anyway, the patience you cultivate, the maturity you gain by learning to sit with discomfort instead of constantly seeking immediate gratification.
Those qualities are permanent.
They become part of who you are. And those qualities, discipline, patience, resilience, rationality under pressure, they spill over and benefit every single other area of your life. The market, in its own brutal way, is an incredible crucible for personal growth if you approach it with the right mindset.
So the final challenge, the question for everyone listening, really boils down to this, doesn't it? Can you commit to playing the long game?
Yeah. Can you truly stomach the uncertainty? Can you handle the emotional discomfort required to let those trades with good potential actually play out? Can you trust your plan enough to hold steady when your instincts are screaming at you to run?
Can you stay calm and disciplined when everyone else around you might be chasing noise or panicking?
Because at its core, holding winning trades isn't really about sophisticated chart patterns or fancy indicators. It's about character. It's about having the integrity to follow the rules you set for yourself.
It's about trusting the process.
Trusting the process you meticulously designed and tested. It's about feeling that intense primal pull of fear, acknowledging the desire for immediate safety and relief, and still choosing to act according to your rational, pre-committed plan. The long game in trading, like in life, it rarely offers instant wins, but it almost always rewards persistence, discipline, and psychological endurance.
Well, thank you for walking us through that. It really highlights how much of this battle is internal. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this deep dive today. Remember, the path to consistency isn't usually found on a chart. It's found within. It's about mastering your own unique psychology of money.
And the goal isn't to become some emotionless robot. That's impossible and probably not even desirable. It's about becoming a more aware human, someone who can feel the fear, recognize the impatience, acknowledge the tension, and then still make the choice to follow their rational map.
Absolutely. Now, we genuinely want this space to feel like a community, a conversation. So we'd love to hear from you. Wherever you're listening or watching, maybe in the comments section or a community space, share one specific financial habit or psychological struggle you're working on right now.
Yeah, maybe it is closing trades too early. Or maybe it's revenge trading after a loss, or fear of pulling the trigger in the first place, whatever it is for you.
Be open. Be honest if you feel comfortable. Just bringing that habit into the light, naming it, is often the first, most crucial step towards changing it. Plus, you'll likely find you connect with so many others facing the exact same struggle. You are definitely not alone on this journey. Let's build something here that really supports growth through awareness and solid process.
Well said. Until next time, everyone, be kind to yourself, especially when you stumble, and stay disciplined in your process.